The first 5G light here, LTE, and I can tell you that there's tremendous neurological damage happening within a mile range circumference of these towers. People's nervous systems are breaking down. Their minds are breaking down. They're dizzy, they're nauseous, they're sick, and this is going to be happening all over the country. And somebody has to do something to make sure that this is researched. We're all being experimented on. The FCC president is online saying, there's no standards, we don't have time to make standards, just put it out there and we'll see what happens. And what's happening is people are getting very ill, they're being driven from their homes, they can't find a place to sleep, to rest, they're breaking down. 5G.
There's a lot of debate in the scientific community whether or not 5G does what you're saying. It should be studied thoroughly. We should have scientific evidence that in fact it is or is not doing what it's asserted to do, number one. Number two, we also have to take a look at what's happening with the entire industry in terms of our privacy.
In the 1930s, they said asbestos was safe. In the 1950s, they said tobacco was safe. In the 1960s, they said DDT was safe. From the 2000s, they say cell phones are safe. Today, they say 5G is safe.
"5G is potentially much more dangerous, and it needs to be tested."
It will be everywhere. Probably the most important thing I did, I was involved as a young scientist in the committee that actually reviewed the data and recommended that there be no smoking on airplanes. You may be shocked to hear that it was even a question for science at the time, but it was. And when I look at what we know now about mobile phone radiation, I see some very interesting similarities.
A growing number of prominent doctors and scientists are raising warning flags over radiation this morning, and your kids could be facing a greater risk of exposure.
I think the most important study is a study by the National Toxicology Program in a classic large carcinogenicity test, one of the largest ever performed, and for that matter, one of the most expensive. They found increased risk of the tumours which we believe radiofrequency radiation is causing in man. Particular tumours called schwannomas. In the rats, they were in the heart. In humans, they're often in the nerve, the ear nerve, the vestibular nerve.
Cell phone providers say they follow all safety guidelines put into place by the FCC. The current FCC safety standard was developed nearly 20 years ago.
The manufacturers actually tell people in the instruction manual, which I never read, not to put the cell phone against your ear.
At this point, the evidence has become sufficiently strong that cell phone radiation is a human carcinogen.
From California's Department of Public Health, high use of cell phones may be linked to certain types of cancer and other health effects, including brain cancer and tumors, lower sperm counts, headaches, and effects on learning, memory, hearing, behavior, and sleep.
If it was a real problem, I would know. If it was a real problem, the government would protect us. How come I'm not hearing about it? Oh yeah, if this was really a problem, they would have told us. I am they. I am a, legitimate scientist, and I am telling you.